The 38 Letters from J.D. Rockefeller to His Son. Perspectives, Ideology, and Wisdom. Written by J.D. Rockefeller. Narrated by Rick Font. Letter 22. Using your strength to scare your opponents. The more you think you can do it, the smarter you will get. When it comes to money, never mention the amount first. February 27, 1901. Dear John, I met with the mediator Henry Frick tonight, and I told him, just as my son told Mr. Morgan, I am not in a hurry to sell the United Mining Company, but as you guessed, I will never prevent the establishment of any business that has value. However, I firmly oppose the actions of condescension buyers and set prices in attempts to prevent them from excluding us. I would rather fight to the end than to do such a business. I asked Mr. Frick to tell Mr. Morgan he is wrong. John, it seems that you have to continue dealing with Mr. Morgan, even though you hate him. So, I want to give you some suggestions to let the invincible guy know what the evil results of doing things his own. Son, many people make the same mistake. They do not know what they are doing. In fact, no matter which industry you are engaged in, such as oil refinery, real estate, steel business, or being a president or employee, you are all engaged in one industry. That is, dealing with people. Negotiation is even more so. It is not the business that is at war with you, but the people. Therefore, a true understanding of yourself and your opponents are the prerequisites for ensuring that you win a big victory in a match. You need to know that preparation is part of the psychology of the game, and you must know yourself and the enemy. If you want to have a substantial advantage, you must know, first, the overall environment. What is the market situation and what is the business situation? Second, your resources. What are your strengths and weaknesses, and what capital do you have? Third, the opponent's resources. What are the opponent's assets, and where are his strengths and weaknesses? In any competition, one of the important factors in planning a grand strategy is to understand the strengths of the opponent. Fourth, your goal and attitude. The motto of the god of sun, Apollo, is only a short sentence. You know yourself. You need to know what you're doing, what goals you have, and how determined you are to achieve them. Like a winner, I still doubt my own strengths and weaknesses in spirit and attitude. John, you have to remember my saying. The more you think you can do it, the brighter you will become, and a positive attitude will create success. Fifth, the opponent's goals and attitudes. Try to judge the opponent's goals, and it is also important to try to penetrate the opponent's heart and understand his thoughts and feelings. There is no doubt that the last one, predicting and understanding your opponent, is the most difficult to put to use, but you have to strive to achieve it. Most of those great military generals have a habit. They always try their best to understand the opponent's character and habits in order to judge the opponent's possible moves and direction of action. In all competitive activities, it is always useful to be able to understand the opponent and the competitor, because then you can predict the opponent's movements. Proactively and anticipatory measures are almost always more effective and more powerful than passive reactions. As the saying goes, prevention is better than cure. In some cases, your competitors may be people you know well. Then you have to take advantage of this. If you understand that you is a very cautious person, perhaps you better be careful yourself. If you feel that he is always impulsive, perhaps this is suggesting you to be bold. Otherwise, you may be driven to a corner by them. However, you do not have to be familiar with your opponents to understand them. As long as you can see the details, you can find many valuable things at the negotiating table. People who are good at negotiating should be able to observe everything. You do not even have to wait until your first step to get to know your opponent. What we say may reveal or conceal our own thoughts, but our choices almost always reveal our inner secrets, thoughts. The first choice everyone makes is also the first revelation. In a negotiation, you must understand what you are saying. If you can really control everything, you should be able to control what you're saying and bring yourself benefits. Similarly, you must remain vigilant at all times in order to receive messages from your opponents. If so, you can continue to control a clear advantage. If you fail to do this, you may lose another opportunity. You need to know that losing in a competitive negotiation means that your chances of winning the negotiation next time will be reduced. The secret of trading is that you need to know what can and cannot be traded. Mr. Morgan sees us as debris in the corner to be swept out, but we must stay on the floor. This cannot be debated. At the same time, he must also give a good price. But you also need to know that when doing business, you must not think of making a clean profit, but to leave some for others to earn. John, you know we are willing to make this transaction because we think it is good for us. This is obvious. However, you should not be subjected to such a clear and narrow perspective. Too many smart people think that the purpose of the brand is not to trade, but to pick up a bargain, hoping to buy things at the lowest price. This time, the price offered by Morgan is more than $1 million lower than the actual valuation. If he only wants to make this kind of transaction, it means that he will lose his chance to ascend the ladders of the U.S. steel industry. The essence of the transaction is exchanging value. Exchange what others want for what you want. The best way to achieve a good deal is to emphasize its value, and many people make the mistake of emphasizing price instead of value. What they often say, "This is really cheap, and you can never find such a low price." Yes, no one wants to pay a high price, but beyond the lowest price, people want the highest value. John, in your negotiations with Mr. Morgan, when it comes to money, you must never mention the amount first, but provide him with precious value and emphasize what he can buy from you. I believe that people can change the world through hard work and reach a new and better state. I wish you all the best. Love, your father.